It's a pioneer of Australia's liquefied natural gas industry, but Woodside's plan to expand its operations in WA is facing opposition in an increasingly carbon-conscious world.
This idea that we can keep expanding the gas industry forever is actually wrong.
And now, former WA Labor Premier turned Conservation Council President Carmen Lawrence is adding her voice to the protests.
I don't see how anyone living in Western Australia can ignore this, because it adds to our emissions. In fact, it's a very significant source.
Woodside wants to develop a gas resource called Scarborough west of Karratha. That will mean expanding its LNG processing facility called Pluto on the Burrup Peninsula. Under the plan, Woodside and its joint venture partner will add a second production train to its Pluto LNG plant, linking it to the Scarborough gas field with a 430-kilometre long pipeline. At the peak of its construction phase, Woodside predicts it will create more than 3,000 jobs and produce 5 million tonnes of LNG a year, with the first shipment from 2026.
Scarborough on its own is probably about 10% of Australia's total LNG exports going forward.
A significant uplift on the gas currently produced at Pluto. Woodside's expected to make its final investment decision on the project by the end of the year. This week, it may have moved a step closer, announcing the sale of a 49% stake in the $7.6 billion proposed new train. Some analysts say the sale points to the project going ahead, while others say it's still 50-50. But environmental groups are concerned about the project's greenhouse gas emissions. WA as a state records about 92 million tonnes of carbon dioxide equivalent a year. And as this graph shows, while Australia's total emissions are going down, WA's have been rising. Woodside estimates the upgraded plant will emit 3.6 million tonnes of greenhouse gases a year. In August, an intergovernmental report on climate change sparked calls to stop any new fossil fuel exploration and production, given the Earth is heating quicker than expected. Climate talks in Glasgow were also firmly focused on reducing emissions. The ABC requested an interview with Woodside Chief Executive Meg O'Neill, but she was unavailable. However, in June, Ms O'Neill told the ABC Woodside had clear goals to reduce its emissions.
By 2025, we want to reduce our emissions by 15%. By 2030, we want to reduce them by 30%. That's absolute emissions, not emissions intensity, and that's measured off our average from 2016 to 2020.
Woodside has set a target for the expanded Pluto plant to be net zero by 2050. It plans to achieve this through measures including best practice LNG technology, tree planting, and investing in carbon offsets.
Scarborough Gas Project and Pluto LNG is a lower CO2 exposed project relative to other projects.
But it's the emissions that will come from other countries that buy and burn the gas that environmental groups are most concerned about.
It's very easy for companies to say, well, we can offset or reduce our emissions in Australia. But the truth is, the planet doesn't care where the boundaries are.
Woodside intends to discuss climate reporting with shareholders at its 2022 AGM.
We've been having a number of conversations, and so we feel like we're reaching out to many of our stakeholders about what sort of action they're expecting to see from us, and we feel that we have a plan that will serve us well over the long run.
There are still a number of issues to play out. The potential for damage to rock art on the Burrup and an ongoing court challenge from the Conservation Council over state environmental approvals among them. The environmental plan for drilling at Scarborough is currently being assessed by the independent regulator for offshore oil and gas. Evelyn Manfield, ABC News.